Over the last few weeks, I've been discussing some of the very positive stories that have been going on for Crypto.com's CRO token. But along with that very positive news that we've seen, I've been giving a stark warning. A stark warning about very successful exchange, Crypto.com and the CRO token. Crypto.com is the 11th largest exchange in the world right now, and it is really showing a tremendous amount of strength. When you put it into perspective, this coin is currently at rank number 23. It was in the top 20 just a few short days ago, and now it is down 6.8%. In fact, down almost 9% over the last 7 days. But with all this positive news, you might be wondering, well, CryptoKit, why is this coming down? If you've been paying attention to this channel, I predicted that we would find a level of resistance potentially at 25 cents, which we were testing support, just broke through that support, and are moving down to our lower level. I predicted that we would have a potential test and rejection off of 37 cents, which was a previous consolidation level from our previous highs. We found resistance there. We came down to 25 cents. There was a chance we could hold there, but now we are seeing CRO coin fall lower today, down to 23 cents, surrendering some of the massive gains that we've seen from this token lately, retracing 37%. Now, so some of the people out there that were not in CRO or not buying CRO at the lows were probably seeing this very optimistic news come out about the President's Media Group partnering with CRO, the Chronos ETFs coming, and they were probably buying somewhere around these highs. I know that there is retail that comes in and buys around the highs, and you might be holding it right now being like, what the heck? This stupid coin just came down 37%. Well, I don't think that it's a very unrealistic move to be seeing right now. In fact, I predicted this here on the channel. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to give financial advice, my friends, but we do track the volatility of crypto in these crypto markets every single day. And I like to make trades off of these levels of support and these levels of resistance as I see them. And I do my own TA, and I think everybody should do their own TA, especially in the crypto market, but just overall. And when I'm doing this TA, I like to trade in a couple of the exchanges that I use to trade are BitTinex and Blowfin, and I got affiliate links in the description of these videos every day for you guys down below. If you haven't already signed up and taken advantage of some of these sign-up bonuses, when you see these levels of volatility, you can trade. Now, it's not just CRO, it's Bitcoin. I like to trade Bitcoin as well. Clearly, we have some resistance coming up when we do start rallying for Bitcoin again, and I do think we will rally again for Bitcoin before the end of the year. But when we get up to 124, 125K, I'm going to be discussing potential level of resistance there. And I'm looking for a level support at 110K for Bitcoin, also at potentially $100,000, which is a key psychological level, and I've been talking about the potential for that dip. But we've had a little bit of a rally lately. If you've seen over the last few days, you've actually seen Bitcoin coming up, and over the last 15 days, it's up 7-8%, but CRO coin has been coming down. How could I have possibly called this? Well, nothing goes straight up, my friends, and historically speaking, every September, CRO coin has a dip. Here we are. August was hot. September is not for CRO. If you go back in time, you can see here's September into, here is August into September, and there is a little dip here. This wasn't that bad of a dip, but there was a little dip here. If you look back to here is July, August, and a dip into September. Now, those aren't even the drastic ones. There are many, many other examples of this. And here you go, July, August, and this is a pretty drastic one. September, that's a pretty big September dip, and we spilled even further into October. This was the bear market. But how about in a bull market? Here you go, March, April, May, June, July, May. We go here, June, July, August. And what is this? This is August into September. There you go, a high in August, and then a 30% retracement into September. That's historical. That's in the middle of a bull market for cryptocurrency. And we can even look back to this one, August, September. Oh, this September dip was brutal. Into October, we even had a big dip. Again, in a bear market. So even when the crypto market is very, very bullish and there's very positive news coming out, it does not mean that something goes straight up. There are historical patterns. There are no guarantees that September was going to be bearish, and there was no reason to believe that this was going to be as bearish of a September as it's already been for CRO. it's been a very bullish time. We've had a lot of bullish news, but there are key levels of support and resistance that we've been discussing on this channel, and we are currently falling down to those levels. Now, there's a little bit of potential support here at 23 cents. We could find a bounce here. However, this is a pretty steep drop off, and it does look like this is truly breaking down. And I do think we're going to make our way back down to 20 cents for CRO. We might even make our way down to 16 cents. I am not a financial advisor. That is not financial advice. If you guys are trading, you should trade on your own TA and do your own research as always. And I do just that myself. Looking at also another factor for CRO, you need Ethereum to continue its breakout. Now, Ethereum recently took a high, but has found some resistance. And in August, we were coming down a little bit. We had a little bit of a rally to start September, but historically for Ethereum as well, September is historically a little bit of a bearish month. This September in particular, right back here, was a little just consolidation. That was back in 2024. If we come out to some of these previous Septembers, there's August and a huge September dip. We see this a lot. Cryptocurrencies generally find bearish trends in September. That's been my warning. On the bullish side, so much positive news. So much positive news. Including the Fed rate cuts that's coming up in just a few short days. 3 days from now, there will be a Fed rate cut, which a lot of people argue, myself included, are likely priced into these markets, meaning when the news comes out, there could be a dip. Now, could we roar and soar and boom after that Fed rate cut comes out? We should. It makes sense that we could, but historically, it also makes sense that Septembers are bearish, and buy the rumor, sell the news events occur. And we do get exciting news, optimistic news that gets priced in the market. Knowing that it's coming, people front run those moves. And that's just what happens in this space. These are things that you can trade off of. I like trading off of basic TA, and I take news into consideration. I think it's very important. Again, the exchanges that I use personally are Blowfin and BitTinex. Up to a $100,000 deposit bonus if you sign up for BitTinex using the link in the description down below. Up to a $5,000 deposit bonus when you sign up for Blowfin with a 10% trade rebate. These are the exchanges that I use to do my leverage trading. I do some spot trading there. I also do some spot trading on Crypto.com exchange, more so than the app. You know, if you're using the Crypto.com app, you're best off to be using the actual exchange from Crypto.com, in my opinion, or some of these other exchanges that have very low fees, because the fees on the Crypto.com app are very different from the Crypto.com exchange, and I think that's very important. Now, that doesn't take away from the amazing success that Crypto.com has had in growing their brand, becoming the 11th largest exchange. I think there's a lot of very exciting news events ahead, including the stablecoin launch for Crypto.com, including many other positive stories that will be coming that we don't even know about yet for Crypto.com. We do know that the Kronos ETF is coming, as I've been discussing for you guys. These are bullish things ahead. So as we see these dips for CROcoin today, and we do dip to some of these lower levels, if we dip to some of these lower levels, these are accumulation zones, in my opinion. If you believe that there is an altcoin season still ahead, and if you believe that CROcoin is going to achieve some previous highs and maybe even take higher prices because of all the positive news and because of the bullish potential for cryptocurrency in Q4. Going back to historical data, we laid out the bearish case. Well, the bullish case is easy. Q4, 85% gains could be coming for Bitcoin. And if that's an altcoin season, over 85% gains could be coming for CRO. I believe in the dollar dream for CRO. I believe in $2 possibly as a potential achievable price for CRO in this bull market, but that does not change the fact that there are volatilities in this market that, again, you can take advantage of with trading. Check out the affiliates if you want to do some trading of your own in the description down below. Continue to do your own research, my friends, and if you want to stay up to date with the crypto news as we see it here in the crypto space, subscribe to the channel for more content, turn on the notification bell, and we'll keep the content coming. 2 videos here if you want to check them out. Until next time, y'all, DCA, HODL, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace, y'all.